So, new moon in Libra. I personally have been feeling the effects of this for the last 4 days, and it's been there's really no words to describe it other than hot. This new moon is coming in hot. Let me tell you, it is going to be really interesting, super interesting. But there is the possibility for some serious transformation when it comes to the relationships in your life. Of course, it all depends on where this happens in your chart, right? But relationships in general are all getting a cleansing. Let's just say that. To find out more, keep watching and I'll explain all about it. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Mel of Divine Feminine Works, and as always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. This channel is everything tarot, astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So if those are the things that you're interested in, if those are the things that you like, that you want to know more of, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell, so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. And for even more content, follow me on Instagram at Divine Feminine Works. Every day I've got tarot readings, I've got astrology content, I've got manifestation content. It's a lot. So to be fully connected, subscribe on YouTube, follow me on Instagram. All right. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the new moon in Libra happening on Wednesday, October 6th, Wednesday. Yes, at least Wednesday where I'm at. Oh shit, that just completely went out. I don't know what happened. Ugh. Mercury, when I tell you Mercury retrograde, like my equipment is just, Don't let anyone tell you that Mercury retrograde isn't a thing. We all saw that yesterday when Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp were all down for like 6 hours. But seriously, this Mercury retrograde, it's like all of the devices, technology, all of that shit is like on the fritz. So don't let anyone tell you Mercury retrograde isn't a thing. But in any event, back to the matter at hand. All right, so the new moon in Libra happening on October 6th, which where I'm at, is happening on Wednesday, tomorrow. This new moon is not necessarily for the faint of heart, okay? It is going to be intense. As a matter of fact, it already is intense. I don't know about you, but I've been feeling the effects of this new moon for at least 4 days. And when I tell you the shitstorm that has kind of sort of been my life for the last 4 days, I might tell that in another video. Comment below if you want to hear about, my life story, my story, get to know me more. Comment with a thumbs up in the comment section so I'll know that you actually care. But anyway, I've been feeling the effects of this new moon for the last 4 days, and it's super intense. On the one hand, we've got, the new moon is when the sun and the moon are conjunct. That's old news. You guys know that, especially if you've been following me for a while. I always begin my new moon videos with that same spiel, right? So the sun and the moon are conjunct in the sign of Libra, but this time around, they're also conjunct Mars. So we've got the sun, moon, and Mars conjunct in the sign of Libra at the 13th degree, okay? The 13th degree is the Aries degree, and we all know Aries. We all know that Aries archetype, the warrior, the fighter. It's very aggressive, very combative energy, and very hot. So this new moon is coming in hot. It is a scorcher, okay? Not only that, we have all 3 planets are going to be in quincunx to Uranus. I'll explain what that is all about in a second. And then finally, that same day, we have Pluto going direct. And Pluto is such an intense energy planet. Like the energy is transformative, right? Pluto rules life, it rules death, it rules transformation, it rules the underworld. So there's a very underworldy kind of vibe to this new moon, all right? So patience is necessary. Patience with yourself and patience with others, because people are going to be acting a fool with this new moon. But before I get into that, let's get back to basics. So, like I said, new moon, sun and moon are conjunct. It's the beginning of the lunar cycle. It's the stage in the lunar cycle where the moon is not visible in the sky. It's completely dark, and it signifies new beginnings. It's the darkness represents the soil in which the seed is planted. So that's when you want to set intentions. That's when you want to, start working towards manifesting new things in your life or revamping existing things in your life, right? So we have this element of newness. But on the other hand, with Mars and Pluto in the mix, in this astrological mix for this new moon, there's also this undercurrent of endings. There's this undercurrent of transformation, regeneration. And it's basically, if I could sum up this new moon in one phrase, it would be purification by fire. Fire is a very intense element, right? Fire creates, fire cooks, fire transforms, fire burns, right? You can create something with fire, you can destroy something with fire. And with this particular new moon, what's being created, destroyed, and a mix of the two is relationships, because this is all going down in the sign of Libra. So what this new moon really means is that there's going to be a regeneration of relationships. There's going to be a clean slate when it comes to relationships. So you're either starting new ones or you're turning a leaf and sort of revamping existing ones. But this is going to happen in a very kind of harsh and intense way because, like I said, we've got Mars and Pluto in the mix, okay? So what that means is that in order for things to get better, they might have to get worse. Just plain and simple. I mean, it's going to be intense. And your relationships are going to be put through the fire. And if they survive, they were meant to. If they burn and fizzle out, then they weren't meant to continue on the journey with you, okay? Now, what I find really interesting about this new moon is, like I said, Pluto is stationing direct on the same day, October 6th. And like I said before, Pluto is all about transformation, regeneration, death, rebirth, the underworld, all that great and heavy stuff, right? But so to explain a little bit about Pluto direct, that means that Pluto has been retrograde, and it's been retrograde since, I believe, April, or at least for the last approximately 5 months, Pluto has been retrograde. And anytime a planet is retrograde, and this includes Mercury too, even though Mercury retrograde has gotten this sort of popular notion that it's just about things going wrong. And while that is true, retrogrades are actually a good thing because they give you the opportunity to redo things, reevaluate things, and reflect on things. And with Pluto having been retrograde for the last 5 months, we've had the opportunity to reflect inwardly on how we deal with power and control. Pluto, apart from everything else that I said Pluto rules earlier, Pluto also rules power and control. And so over the last 5 months, we've been able to see just how much power we have, how we perceive power and control in our lives. Do we feel powerful or do we feel powerless? Do we control everything or do we give our power and control away to others? And certain situations from your past may have come up again during the last 5 months just to show you just that, to show you how much power you possess or how much power you perceive that you possess. And so in that way, you've been able to transform. And this transformation has gone on a very internal and subconscious level. I mean, some people say that it's even like changes in your DNA transformation, like that minuscule, that deep, right? But for most of us, we've just been able to transform who we are, how we identify ourselves, particularly now being in Capricorn. Capricorn is an earth sign. So it's about, Pluto is in Capricorn, by the way, if I didn't mention that. Pluto in Capricorn has been on a major level. It's been how society and the structures within society, big organizations, government, things like that have been transforming. And that's on the macro level. On the micro level, it's sort of the structure that we have within ourselves. how we view stability, how we view status, things of that nature. That's sort of what we've been changing over the last 5 months. And again, that goes with power, how we view power, how we use it in our lives, how we perceive to have it in our lives. And so this change has been going on internally. And now that Pluto was about to go direct, now this change, we're going to test it out in the real world. We're going to start to see things change in our external environment. And the very first thing, the very first test we're going to have with this new us, with this transformed us, is relationships. Hence, new moon in Libra. So relationships are going to be put through the fire. Now you're showing, some of you, especially if you've been doing shadow work, if you've really been delving into your spirituality and really turning inward, you're very much aware of the changes that you've been experiencing. And so now it's like you're this new you, and you're about to go into the world and you're going to start to interact with people. You're going to interact in your relationships. And people are going to notice that you're different. People are going to notice that, oh, something's different. Maybe some of you have reclaimed your power. Maybe some of you realize that you need to relinquish some of your power. You've been too control freaky-ish, if that's a word. And so now in your relationships, people are going to be dealing with the new you, and that may not rub people the right way. People may have been used to the old you. Maybe you showed up as someone who just gave their power away. And now you're finally asserting yourself, and people are going to be like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? They don't like it. So it's going to cause clashing. Hence Mars. Mars is going to cause that conflict. Mars is going to cause competition, power struggles. Pluto also represents power struggles. So in our relationships, we're all going to be experiencing these power struggles, vying for power and sort of finding the balance. That's going to be the name of the game with this new moon. You have these new relationship revamps. You have the transformation from Pluto. And so now it's about restoring balance, finding balance and having peace in your relationships. That means that some relationships will withstand the fire. Others just won't. Whatever does not last, let it go. It wasn't meant to be there anyway. But what stays is going to be solid because it's been tested. And that's how we're going to have this new beginning in relationships. Pluto is really the key to the how when it comes to new relationships for this new moon. So it's going to be really intense. Again, if you haven't been feeling it already, you are definitely going to feel it in the next couple of days. And just be mindful that everyone's going through this together, right? So compassion is always necessary. I always say that when dealing with Mars because Mars is so volatile. You know, it's so combative. You know, be patient with yourself, be patient with others, but, you know, doesn't mean you have to take shit either. Like, stand your ground if you need to, defend yourself if you need to. But yeah, that's really what's going on this new moon. So it's going to be real. It's a real one. It definitely brings the heat. But at the end of this all, we can have relationships that truly reflect who we are now, like post-transformation. If you are evolving and you are transforming, and we're always going through a cycle of transformation, if you're not transforming and evolving, then you're really not living. And so now the relationships need to catch up with where we're going and who we are and who we're becoming. And that's exactly what this new moon is going to do. All right. So that was the astrology. Hopefully you were able to get something out of it. It made sense. I mean, it made sense in my head. I'm hoping that it made sense coming out to you. So without further ado, you know the deal. Now that we've gotten the astrology out of the way, let's get into the tarot and see what messages Spirit has for us for this new moon. All right, my loves. So as always, let's get into the tarot. We start out with an oracle card for an overarching message, and then we circle back in with the tarot for some more specific stuff. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right. So this is the collective message for the new moon in Libra happening on October 6th. What messages does Spirit have for us for this new moon? All right, we got two. I'm inclined to take both of them. We've got the masculine. Okay, this is giving me very Mars energy. Warrior-like. You see sort of this thing that he's holding. So very machismo, masculine, extroverted energy. And that's all Mars. This is Mars written all over it. And then we've got fear. All right. So this is giving me Pluto vibes. So what I'm getting off the bat is that a lot of us are going to, and I say us because we're all going through this together, myself included. A lot of us are experiencing a certain level of fear when it comes to relationships. And that kind of makes sense because at a very core level, a lot of times we come into relationships with insecurities. We come into relationships with hang-ups that make us fear whether our partner is going to leave us or whatever. But this is a fear about taking action or standing up for yourself. Remember I said before in the Astro section that, Pluto is about power and control and how we use it, how it is, used on us, etc. And someone or some people out there, I'm getting this sense of being afraid to show up as this new you, right? The masculine here, it's very assertive, very extroverted, like I said before. And I feel like a lot of us, myself included, this message is definitely for me too. It's almost like you're afraid to yield your power. You are afraid to really put yourself out there, whether that is being vulnerable, whether it's succumbing to negativity around you, listening to what other people around you are saying and internalizing that, and therefore becoming insecure. So there's this fear that's going to be coming up. And how this shows up is that, let's say you're actually in a relationship right now, and with everything that's going on in the cosmos with this new moon, you may get into some crazy kind of random argument where your fears are being mirrored to you. So let's say you have an issue asserting yourself, or let's say you feel insecure and you're afraid that your partner's going to leave you. What's going to happen is you're going to have an argument or a situation going to show up where your partner leaves you, or where you are shown just how powerless you perceive yourself to be. And it's not playing. Keep in mind that even though it's playing out that way, it doesn't mean that that is the reality of the situation. It's merely like watching a movie. Okay, it's showing you something, and you in turn have the power to change it. So I want to make this very clear because I'm not going to have time to really go into the manifestation portion of all of this. I think I'll save that for another video. But just because you see something in your reality doesn't necessarily make it real or true. At any given point in time, you have the power to change it. You have the power to change the channel. You have the power to make the movie completely different. But going back to what I was saying, fears are going to come up. You're going to see them in your 3D. They're going to be mirrored to you through your partner, through external situations that's going to show it to you so that you can address it. That is the only reason why it's coming up. Please believe. Please don't internalize anything that you see. Please don't internalize any feelings that come up. Watch them, notice them, change the channel. All right, let's keep it moving. I'm gonna make this reading a little shorter. Okay, just want 3 cards. Okay, thank you. First card we have, can't make this up. Death and rebirth. Hi, Pluto. Pluto, loud and clear. Followed by the 7 of Wands. Followed by the Queen of Wands. What does this say? Death and rebirth. This is the essence of this new moon. It's clearing the way for new relationships to come about. And it doesn't mean that if you're in a relationship right now and it's going good, that's just going to end. It means that certain things within your relationship are going to die out so that you can move to the next level. It's good stuff. But yeah, that's what this new moon is all about. I'm reminded of something I wrote not long ago. When I talked earlier about purification through fire, right? There's something that farmers do called prescribed burns. And basically what it is they burn their field with crops still in it. And basically it gets rid of the old crops and makes the soil fertile for new crops. But they essentially set their field ablaze, right? And that's exactly what's going on with this new moon. And like I said, if your relationship withstands the fire, that shit is solid. And you will definitely move on to the next level. If not, as hard as it may be, you got to let it go. But now you have fertile soil and room for a relationship that really reflects who you are and where you're going, right? Now there's going to be some defensiveness, and this goes back to the new moon conjunct Mars. I want you to see how this woman is sitting there unbothered, right? All of these sticks typically in the traditional tarot represent like naysayers, right? Like pointing sticks at you or trying to, jab you or something like that. But look at how calm she looks. That's to say that whatever outside resistance you are experiencing during this new moon, it should not faze you. It shouldn't faze you because, again, you've transformed, especially if you've done the inner work. This is sort of how you're going to be sitting. Like, you're just going to be unbothered. Don't let outside circumstances color what you know to be true and where you're trying to go. That's basically all I can say. But there will be resistance. That's essentially what this card is saying. And the Queen of Wands. I love that this card came up because Mars energy is very volatile. Fire can be very dangerous. We've all been burnt by something hot at some point in our lives, right? It can be very dangerous. But what I love about this is she's mastered fire. She knows exactly how to use it, how to wield it, and it goes back to power also. Power can be a very dangerous thing. People use it all the time for, horrible things, to oppress people. But when you know how to use it safely, there's so much you can do with it. And that's exactly what this new moon is about. There's a lot of energy at your disposal for creation because fire is creation. Strife, conflict, all of those things can create something new. It doesn't feel good in the moment, but it leaves the opportunity for creation. And that's kind of how you have to look at this from any angle, whether you're not in a relationship, whether you're in a relationship. And keep in mind, this isn't just romantic relationships. This is friends, this is family, this is neighbors. Any type of relationship is under review for this new moon. So it's about safely using power, using it in a constructive and beneficial way that's going to have you in a better place and with better relationships. All right, let's get 3 more cards to close out this reading. I'm really hoping this makes sense. Let me know if this makes sense, because it's making sense to me, but I guess I need to make sure that it makes sense for you too. Okay, let's get one more. Perfect. The first card out we have is Toil and Labor, and this goes directly on the death and rebirth. Some of you have been working like really hard at sustaining a relationship to the point where it feels like a chore. Some of you feel obligated to sustain a relationship, and what I'm getting is that like obligation alone doesn't make a relationship and doesn't hold a relationship together either. So if you're in a relationship that's like that, that's like obligatory, that feels like a chore, that feels like, you've got to toil and work hard at it to keep it, then that's probably not gonna last. Hate to say it, but that's the vibe that I'm getting. Like, it's just not gonna last. But again, destruction always leaves room for creation, right? So now that you don't have this, obligatory chore of a relationship, now you have the opportunity to get into a relationship that you actually want to be in. Okay. Second card we have is Message of Concern. Whatever you hear, whether it comes from your partner, whether it comes from outside people, that seems to be like negative, that may be fear-based, or bringing up things from the past that make you uncomfortable or trigger you, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. This is how unbothered you are. Like, when I say it doesn't matter, it like really doesn't matter. Some people may really try to trigger you on purpose. It's that power struggle kind of a thing. Like, they just want to trigger you to knock you off your block, to prevent you from getting in a relationship, to yield their power over you. Don't buy into it. It's not real. Switch the channel. And then finally, we have thoughts. Your thoughts create things. Remember how I said she is using this power of fire, this element of fire constructively, right? She has her power under control. She knows how to use it safely. It's your thoughts that create that. And I'm gonna get into a whole manifestation, your thoughts create things video, but that's essentially what that is. It's your thoughts that's going to change the situation. Remember I just said, whatever you hear that is negative, that's fear-based, you have the power to switch the channel. You know how you switch the channel? You switch your thoughts. And that's how you're going to be able to get through this, and how you're going to be able to have this transformation within your relationships, okay? The power is in your hands. That is what this new moon is telling us. It's so much more than just about a new relationship, taking your relationship to the next level, setting intentions to find a boo. It's so much more than that. It's about how you show up in relationships, how you've transformed, or maybe how you haven't transformed. If you haven't transformed, if you haven't evolved, then you're going to go through a whole other new cycle of the same thing when it comes to relationships. If you don't want that, you've got to do the work, and the work starts with your thoughts. Change your thoughts, change your reality. All right, my love, so that has been the new moon in Libra video, Astro plus Tarot. I sincerely hope, I intend, and I affirm that you were able to get at least one important message from this video. If you would like to book a personal tarot reading with me or order an astrology report, those links are in the description box below, so don't forget to check those out. Again, while you're checking things out, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Divine Feminine Works. I have tons and tons and tons of amazing content over there, so don't miss out. Again, follow me over there. As always, everything I do is a labor of love and comes straight from the bottom of my heart. If you feel so inclined and would like to tip me by buying me a coffee, and tips are always greatly appreciated, I'll leave the link for that in the description box as well. My loves, happy new moon in Libra. Play it safe out there. Remember, your thoughts create everything. You can ride the wave, and you can really have the relationship that you truly desire in your life. Take care. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.